My name is Shauna Brown, and I am the host of Talk with Shauna. I'm a singer, songwriter, recording artist, currently living in Brampton, Ontario, originally from Wolfville, Nova Scotia. The theme song to my show is actually my original song called Turn Up the Microphone. Thanks everybody for watching, and here's the show. Hello, dear friends. You are now watching Talk with Shauna. Now, this episode is a very special one to me. It's actually talking about succeeding at our goals. And I'm going to start off with this. There are countless people, myself included, of course, who have many areas of life that they'd like to improve on. For example, for me, you know that I'm a singer, songwriter, recording artist. So for me, I would like to reach more people with my music and with my songwriting. There's a lot of other things I'd like to accomplish as well. I'd like to develop stronger exercise routines at the gym. I'd like to be more consistently mindful in my everyday life. There's also a lot of other things too. Now, the thing is, even when we're working very hard on our goals and we're truly committed to it, it's very natural that we have a tendency to revert back to our old habits somewhere in that process. In making a lifestyle change permanently, it can be very difficult. Sometimes you can have too many good intentions. When trying to master a multitude of habits and permanently sticking to them, there needs to be consistency. Psychology research has shown that we are 2 to 3 times more likely to stick to our habits if we plan specifically where, when, and how we will perform the behavior. For example, you can say, I will lift weights for 25 minutes on Tuesday at 1 o'clock at the private gym down the street. Research has found that those who filled out this sentence were 2 to 3 more times likely to actually lift weights compared to those who did not make plans for future behavior. Now, have you ever heard the statement, failing to plan is like planning to fail? I definitely have. Psychologists call the planning of the when, where, and how implementation intentions. However, research has discovered that implementation intentions only work when you focus on one thing at a time. They found that those who made an attempt to achieve multiple goals were not as committed and less inclined to succeed than the individuals who focused on one single goal. When we begin practicing a new habit, it requires a lot of effort consciously to remember to do it. And after some time, however, the behavioral pattern becomes easier. Eventually, this new habit becomes your normal routine, and the process is automatic. This is called automaticity. Here's the thing though. Automaticity only results from lots of practice and repetition. It is said that the average habit takes about 66 days to become automatic. Now, the part of this discussion which is counterintuitive, and I thought was pretty funny when I first discovered this, it's that the best way to change your entire life is by not changing your entire life. Instead, it is best to focus on one specific habit, work on it until you master it, and make it an automatic part of your daily life. Then, repeat this formula for the next habit. The way you master more things in the long term is to focus solely on one thing right now. Okay, so you might be thinking, yeah, but you don't understand. I have so many things I need to change. But I ask you to consider this for a moment. So, solving our deep issues in life often requires us to have some space to sit, think, and figure out a better solution. Now, if you feel like you're drowning and can barely keep your head above water, I'm sure many of us women and mothers feel like this. Then you will never figure out a better approach. By picking one of those habits and mastering it, you not only make progress, but you also will free up that well-needed mental space to think through clearly the deeper issues. Sometimes you need to embrace a good tactic so you can make enough room to figure out a better strategy. At the core of achieving success lies one thing: focus. While it's tempting to pursue multiple opportunities simultaneously, successful entrepreneurs and industry giants like Warren Buffett, Steve Jobs, and Bill Gates emphasize the importance of focusing on one thing at a time. And as Jobs has said, people think that focus means saying yes to the thing that you've got to focus on, but that's not what it means at all. It actually means saying no to the 100 other good ideas that are there. You have to pick carefully. I'm actually as proud of the things that we haven't done as the things that I have done. By focusing on one thing at a time, you can position yourself for long-term success as a reliable authority figure in your industry. Whether you're a business leader or a specialist, it's prudent that you dedicate your skill building time and resources to developing your proficiency at one thing. When you spread yourself too wide, you will inevitably dilute the potency of what you do if you don't buckle down on mastering one thing. Now, while it may seem limiting to narrow your focus on one type of thing, the utility that you gain by doing so will become invaluable. Too often, people assume that you should only focus on one thing in your life, period. But that's not what this strategy is about. It's about being smart about what you pursue. Yes, you can achieve a lot of things, but just not all at the same time. You can't build a career, get in shape, compete in marathons, write a book, invest in a business, have kids, and travel the world. But you can do all these things in a lifetime. For example, you could stick to one major priority per area of your life. You could categorize it as, for example, let's see here, career could be one perhaps, health, learning could be another one, money, relationships. You can categorize your life any way that you want, and we don't need to criticize how others do it. What matters is that we understand how we categorize our own lives. Otherwise, your life is going to have no structure and there's going to be chaos. And with chaos, there is not one thing, there's everything. And to be honest with you, that's bad. So what you want to do is you want to change your mindset. You want to go from, oh, I want everything, to, I appreciate what I have. Now, that's the only way to live this one thing idea. In other words, we need to control our desires. And one reason I think our excessive desire for more is a reason that we can't focus on one thing. Now, today, my daughter Alexia, who I've talked on the show about a lot, she's 9 years old, she's in grade 4. She actually came to me today and told me that today is a very special day. And I thought it was very fitting with the show today because what this event does is it forces all of us to stop and focus on one thing that's happening in our lives. And I think it's a way of us all reflecting, and it's very fitting with the topic that we're talking about today on the show. So I'm going to introduce my daughter right now. Her name's Alexia. Come on in here. And she is going to explain what today is and what is happening. So here she is. Here's Alexia right here. Say hi.
Hello.
Now she is going to read to all of us what today is. Here she is.
Okay, so today is Earth Hour from 8:30 to 9:30 p.m. To participate at home, you would turn off all non-essential lights and devices. This worldwide movement started in Sydney, Australia in 2007, and it continues to be run by the World Wildlife Fund. It can show the global impact of energy and environmental conservation. So light your candles, put batteries in your flashlights, or just enjoy the dark with your family. Thank you.
That was amazing. So, yes, that is a very special occasion that we have happening today. And perhaps you can do this on your own. You could take an hour out of your day and just focus on something that you want to achieve as a goal. And we can remind ourselves that focusing on one thing and really putting all of our energy into it can make things really effective. So thanks again, Alexia, for being on the show. I appreciate that. And I'm going to let you go back to playing now. So thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
There she is. I'm going to explain to you a little bit about what Earth Hour is. Now, Earth Hour is an annual environmental campaign that brings attention to the effects of climate change by asking people to switch off lights at home and businesses for an hour at 8:30 p.m. local time, usually on the last Saturday of March. Earth Hour is a global WWF, formerly known as World Wildlife Fund, climate change initiative. It is an event that aims to create awareness of people taking responsibility towards a sustainable future by turning the lights off. Earth Hour is not to be confused with Earth Day. Millions of people turn off their lights for Earth Hour at 8:30 p.m. in their local times on the last Saturday of March. Iconic buildings and landmarks from Europe to Asia to the Americas have stood in darkness during previous Earth Hours. Some people enjoy Earth Hour with a candlelit dinner or a candlelit bath, while others host large events or parties, either in darkness or with candles, to celebrate Earth Hour. Businesses and government organizations, as well as community and political leaders, also take part in Earth Hour. It's about giving people a voice on the planet's future and working together to create a sustainable, low-carbon future for planet Earth. That can rob you of your life focus is multitasking. Of course, I am a confirmed list maker. Every day I open my schedule book with my pen ready as I detail the tasks that are most in need of being completed. I'm always thinking of my schedule, how much I have to accomplish, and how little time there is to do it. This frequently pushes me into multitasking overdrive. You get me, right? I mean, you catch up with your friends on the phone while washing dishes. You quiz your child on French while folding clothes, and even while you're watching this episode right now, you are probably thinking of what you have to do later today, and your brain is practically buried under a massive pile of mental sticky notes, making it hard to think clearly. Does this sound like you? How can you tell when you are suffering from multitask excess? Here are some of the key factors and key indicators. You pull into a parking lot and you realize you don't remember any details of the drive. Dinner is over, but you don't recall the taste of the food or even eating it. You have conversations with family and friends, but later you can't remember what was discussed. Multitasking is so common that when you only do two things at a time, you feel like you're seriously slacking off. And when your colleague asks you what you did the day before, you can't remember. And you have to check your trusty little schedule to jog your brain. I know as women and mothers, the reality is that there is just too much to do. I always make a joke about this and say, it's like I'm living in the Bermuda Triangle. I can't get out of this place. No matter how hard I try, there's just always something to do. So now I'm not at all saying that there aren't times where multitasking is necessary or useful. Often the multitude of responsibilities that we bear, it makes it essential that we function as efficiently as possible. And that quite often means finding ways of doing more than one thing at a time. But when we multitask as a matter of habit, we rob ourselves of that sense of pride or accomplishment in what we have done because we are still doing something else. We seldom slow down and celebrate our accomplishments because there is still so much to do. We have confused quality with quantity, thinking the number of tasks completed is more important than the degree of thoroughness or excellence in which the work is done. If you feel it's time to take on the direction of less is more, you can try this 3-step process. So step 1 is this. For 24 hours, do just one thing at a time. No multitasking allowed. You reward yourself each task, large or small, its own time for completion. You may find this much harder than expected. Step 2, pause after each task is completed to show appreciation for the person who accomplished it. You, of course. And for many, this may be the biggest challenge, moving from multitasking through single tasking to zero tasking. Yes, you heard it right. Doing nothing. No action of any kind. I know what you're thinking. Do nothing? I don't have time to do nothing. I have my family, my kids, my job. Everything would fall apart. Relax. I'm not saying that you should quit your job or forget your responsibilities and live under a tree. What I'm saying is put a few little moments of inaction into your life. Every time that you complete a task, stop and recognize where you are and what you were doing before you rush into the next task. Catch your breath and take a breath break. Take a brief pause. This can result in increased energy. You're giving your body, mind, and spirit the chance to breathe, to refresh, to awaken. I honestly really encourage you to try it now. For the next 60 seconds, put your reading down, whatever it is that you're doing, and do absolutely nothing. Sit still. Breathe. Relax. Don't think. Don't plan. Center yourself. Breathe. Now fill your body with the deepest breath that you can take in. Hold it. And then release it gently. Just sit quietly for 1 minute and let yourself be. Now, did you find it difficult to stop, even for a short time? Did you keep looking at your watch? And you're thinking, oh yeah, sure, 60 seconds must have passed already. This only indicates at what speed that you have been moving. Now check your breathing. Is it a little slower? A little deeper? Does your body feel the tiniest bit more relaxed? Just imagine how you would feel if you stretched it out another minute or 2 or 3. You would feel calmer, more centered, more energized. The more often you pause for breath breaks, the more you will be able to accomplish. Take the time to refresh and replenish your soul. We will then achieve a life measured not by quantity, but by quality. Not by tasks completed, but by moments truly lived. And before I go, I want to say what I always say at the end of my show: always let the music live through you. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time on Talk with Shauna. If you'd like to continue this conversation, you can always find me on Instagram at Shauna Brown Music 111 and my website, shaunamusic.com. It's definitely time that we start talking.